Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We are a couple of Americans that make videos about British culture 3 times a week, and today we are introducing you to several British treats which are either banned or impossible to find in the United States.
But before we jump into today's episode, make sure that you subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that you never miss a video from us. Yorkie Bars.
This chunky chocolate bar was invented in 1976, and the target consumers were men, and the marketing campaign that came out of that was a bit, shall we say, on the nose.
Yorkie, please, mate.
You're not a bug by any chance.
You haven't laughed.
Open that. Oh look! A big hairy spider! You know, that wrapper really brings out the beautiful blue of your eyes.
Really?
Yorkie, 5 big masculine chunks of chocolate. It's not for girls.
Yorkie Bars cannot be found in America because, believe it or not, they are banned. This is the result of legal action taken by Hersheys, America's favorite
Chocolate
company.
The reason Hersheys pushed to ban Yorkies is because Hersheys produces something called York peppermint patties, and they were worried that American consumers might confuse Yorkies for their peppermint patties. Even though one is a patty, the other is a bar, one is chocolate, the other is peppermint.
They don't really look very similar in packaging either, the colors.
One is bright blue with yellow, and the other one's silver
And blue. There's gotta be some dumbass Americans to get those confused.
Hershey's knows their target audience. Candy is a vicious business.
Yeah, gotta cover all your bases there.
The candy mafia, the Hershey mafia is coming for you.
Yeah.
It's like the Yakuza in Japan, except in this one they beat you to death with
Chocolate bars.
Minstrels.
These are kind of like M&Ms, but without colors. They're milk chocolate candies coated with a hard glazed shell. Like M&Ms, Minstrels are owned by Mars, an American candy corporation with a UK branch based in Berkshire.
And while Minstrels are not banned in the United States, they are very, very rare. I've never seen one, and if you did want to find some, you'd probably have to go to a specialty candy store specialty candy store specializing in British products. Fun fact, both Minstrels and M&Ms have been marketed with the slogan, "They melt in your mouth, not on your hands." And this goes back actually to the Spanish Civil War when Forrest Mars, one of the original Mars Corporation founders, he was in England there making candy for the soldiers heading off to the Spanish Civil War. And he saw all these guys popping these candies, which are milk chocolate wrapped in glazed sugar. And he saw this as a revolutionary concept because at that time in history, chocolate melting was actually a major problem for chocolate manufacturers. It was so bad that during summer months, chocolate sales would drop off because people didn't really have a way to keep chocolate from melting. So when Forrest Mars saw these sugar-encased chocolate candies, it blew his mind, and he very quickly set to work manufacturing M&Ms and subsequently Minstrels.
Bourbon Biscuits. These sandwich-style biscuits, or as we would call them in the States, cookies, are composed of 2 dark chocolate biscuits hugging a layer of buttercream filling between them.
Fun fact, did you know that bourbon biscuits were actually invented by a German gentleman named Hans Zenlock, who was working in the research and development department at Cadbury? From what I learned doing research for this video, Zenlock, this gentleman's last name, actually means 10 in German, which is why these biscuits have 10 holes, 5 on one side, 5 on the other.
Fun fact number 2, when it comes to tea dunking, surveys have found that bourbon biscuits are actually the 5th most popular biscuit in the UK.
A very specific number 5. Unfortunately, despite these fun facts, bourbon biscuits have yet to gain a foothold in the American market, so you won't find these in American grocery stores.
Not really sure why though, because these totally sound like something Americans would like.
It might be because they are dunking biscuits, whereas Americans don't really do dunking. Except for graham crackers and milk, we do that. Toffee Crisps.
These crunchy, chewy Nestle candy bars are made out of crisped rice, caramel, milk chocolate, and toffee. Seems innocent enough, right?
Wrong! The branding on these candy bars looks remarkably like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which is a Hershey's brand. We all know where this is going. But to play devil's advocate, I do think that the branding on Toffee Crisp and Reese's is remarkably similar.
Yeah.
They do look very
I
similar.
mean, they use the same colors and everything.
Yeah, even the same, almost the same yellow font with a black outline. So I do get why the design was banned. But what I don't understand is why Nestle couldn't have just mixed up the branding and then reintroduced them to the United States in a different packaging.
Been like, now we're purple and yellow.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
gross.
that. Cadbury would have gotten into the fight.
That's true. Hobnobs.
These are delicious rolled oat biscuits produced by McVitie's. And unfortunately, like everything else on this list, these are not sold in the United States except for in specialty British shops. While researching this video, did you find out any fun facts about Hobnobs?
Actually, yes. In 2014, a social media survey found that Hobnobs, as well as Jaffa Cakes, which we're going to get to in a minute, are tied for the UK's favorite biscuit.
Which brings us to Jaffa Cakes. Full disclosure, I didn't even know Jaffa Cakes existed until a couple of weeks ago when subscribers and patrons mentioned them on one of our community posts.
So what are Jaffa Cakes?
From what I understand, Jaffa Cakes are biscuit-sized cakes that have 3 layers. You've got this spongy cake layer, then you've got a spreading of orange jam, or it could be marmalade, and then right across the top of it all, you've got chocolate. So it sounds really good.
It does sound good. Is it large? How big is this?
It's about, it's a biscuit size, like a digestive.
A couple of fun facts that we learned while doing research for this video. First, when they invented this cake, McVitie's didn't trademark the name Jaffa Cakes, which means that other biscuit manufacturers and supermarkets can use the name Jaffa Cakes for their version of Jaffa Cakes. So there's a bunch of Jaffa Cakes.
Which makes me wonder, question for you guys, are there any other versions of Jaffa Cakes which are actually better than McVitie's Jaffa Cakes?
Ooh.
Another fun fact we learned is that there is a very specific reason why we keep calling these things cakes and not biscuits, even though they really, if you saw one, you'd think, that's a biscuit. Here is the story. Back in 1991, there was actually a court case between the British government and McVitie's over whether or not Jaffa Cakes are truly cakes or if they are biscuits. And you may be wondering, why does this even matter? Well, what is it? Who cares if it's a biscuit or a digestive? Well, Americans, listen up. In the UK, VAT, value added tax, is charged for chocolate covered biscuits. So if you're buying chocolate covered biscuits, you're gonna have to pay VAT. But VAT is not charged for chocolate covered cakes. Ooh. So yeah, there was a lot of tax money involved here, which is why the government wanted to make sure that they were not getting cheated out of their precious VAT.
So how did they actually prove then? What is the standard for this being a cake and not a biscuit?
So how did McVitie's get away with it?
Yeah.
So apparently what McVitie's did, and this must have been a very delicious court case to be a part of as a result of, they actually baked a massive Jaffa cake, like a full-sized cake. So just, Jaffa cake with a sponge, marmalade, and chocolate, and made a full-sized version of it. And you submitted that as evidence as to why Jaffa Cakes are really just miniature cakes. And it worked because in its final decision, the court ruled that Jaffa Cakes are not biscuits, they are cakes. And here are some of the reasons why the court decided that. First, because the ingredients were regarded as similar to those of a cake, producing a thin, cake-like batter rather than the thick dough of a biscuit. Also, the product's texture was regarded as being that of a sponge cake, and Jaffa Cakes harden when stale in the manner of a cake. Whereas if you leave digestives sitting out all day, you can eat them at any time and they're not going to become stale. And finally, a substantial part of the Jaffa Cake in terms of bulk and texture is sponge, which is a cake characteristic, not a biscuit. I wonder if the judge was like, so, if I agree that this is a cake, do I get to keep this full-size Jaffa Cake? I'm not saying bribery happened. I'm not saying that. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were some Jaffa Cakes shuffled under the table.
I mean, if someone's literally bribing you with delicious cakes, when that's the best form of bribery.
I've done less for cakes. As a result of this court case, we all get to enjoy Jaffa Cakes VAT free, which may be why Jaffa Cakes consistently rank as the #1 biscuit/cake in the UK.
If you love British food videos, then you will find this playlist right here exceptionally delicious.
And if you haven't already, do subscribe for fresh British culture content 3 times a week, and give the notification bell a pleasant whack so that you get notified every time we release a new video. Also, if you want to help this channel grow, do smash the like button, because while that may seem like a small thing, it actually does a lot to help YouTube promote this video within its algorithm. Again, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we're gonna leave you guys with this question. What is your favorite British treat?
Let us know down in the comments, and we will see you next time. Bisous!